Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today we have our guest, Koltin, a co-founder of Kinson Key Games and one of the creative minds behind Galactic Cruise, a board game that have raised over $800,000 on Kickstarter. In this episode, we'll dive into his journey from designing games during the pandemic to co-founding the current indie board game publishing company as well. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so can you first start sharing with our audience what first got you interested in board game design?
Yeah, so growing up, my best friend TK and I, we were always creating things. Like we're both creatives. I did a lot of like live theater. He did a lot of music, and so we were always like creating and expressing in different ways. And games were just kind of a part of that. So, growing up, we would play games. We would try to design our own, as I feel like a lot of kids do. But it's kind of something that we kept coming back to. So, we did it as kids, we did it as teenagers, as kind of young adults. And it's just kind of the thing that we kept coming back to. So yeah, when the pandemic hit, we kind of just on a whim, just to fill some time, said we should try to design games again and see if we're any good at it now that we're a little bit older. So I'd say that I've kind of just always been into it, but definitely the kind of when everything shut down and we were kind of locked down for a while, that really gave us the time we needed to jump into it.
Yeah, and where did the idea of the first game that you designed came from?
Yeah, so we actually had probably a dozen games in the pipeline before we kind of landed on Galactic Cruise. So at the time, we were just kind of designing all types of games with all types of themes. But Galactic Cruise was kind of special for us. TK especially is a big space guy. I enjoy space themes. You can see behind me, I'm mirrored over here. I have space here, and Sky Mines is up there. So I enjoy space, but TK loves space. But we both love going on cruises, going on vacation.
Okay.
Enjoying kind of the all-inclusive luxury of that. So kind of bringing those two ideas together felt really kind of fresh and fun, and we ran with it.
I see. And I think you have a copy of the game with you as well. Can you also give like the audience a quick overview of how the game is being played?
Yeah, so there's Galactic Cruise there.
That's a big box.
It's a hefty box, yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of at its heart, Galactic Cruise is a worker placement game. It plays 1 to 4 players, about 90 to 150 minutes. And sort of the core loop of the game is you are a high-level supervisor of the company Galactic Cruise. So your job is to build and launch ships to take people on space vacations. So to do that, you'll be acquiring blueprints. You'll be building those blueprints into ships. You can get new ships in your fleet that all have different forms of scoring on them.
Yeah.
You'll be scheduling cruises. You'll be advertising to guests to get them onto your ships. And then you will eventually launch the ship. And when you launch, one of your workers becomes a pilot of the ship. So for the next several rounds, they'll be gone as they're kind of tracking the progress of the trip. And then outside of that, you're kind of building up the company itself. You're inventing new technologies everyone can use. Kind of making the board function more efficiently. That's kind of the game in a nutshell. It's got lots of moving parts. It's kind of
Mm,
multi-layered. Um, but kind of the core of the game is the theme there of building those ships and then launching
mhm.
them.
How long is the typical gameplay?
Typical gameplay, we always tell people if it's your first game, you're probably looking at probably an hour per player. So a
Okay.
four-player game can run, 4 hours your first time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um,
Okay. I
and,
see.
and that's mainly, having to kind of learn the game and then, you know, check, check the rules and
Mhm.
agonize over, oh, should I do this or should I do that? Once you know the game, though, it's closer to 30, 40 minutes per player.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so like when kind of our little core group gets together to play it, we can do a four-player game in 2 hours, 2.5 hours
Mhm.
because we know the game so well.
I see. And I know you had a lot of success on Kickstarter. What was your experience when you run that particular Kickstarter? How would you say that you did differently to contribute to the success?
So I would say one, we really took our time. Um, we did not rush into running a Kickstarter. We did not hit that launch button until we felt we were ready.
Mhm.
Um, so we did a ton of marketing leading up to the launch. I think we had it was north of 13,000 people following the project before we launched. We
Oh,
had
okay. I see.
over 10,000 people on our monthly newsletter list.
Mhm.
Went to every convention we could afford to go to. Um, we hired one of the best artists in the industry, Ian O'Toole, to do the artwork for the game.
Mhm.
But all of that took time and money and energy and resources. Um, I think what happens to a lot of people is they they do all of that to about the 70% mark or the 80% mark. They
Mhm.
say, "Oh yeah, I'm doing some marketing. I have some people following
Yeah.
my Kickstarter page. I hired a pretty good artist to do this."
Mhm.
Um, so I think a lot of the success just came from us doing 100% of the stuff to like 100% of the way.
I
Um,
How many months do you say it took you to get ready before you launch?
we started designing the game in May of 2021. We
Oh,
launched it
okay.
in March of 2024.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay. Take a few
it
years.
was
Okay.
almost a 3 year
Years on the design
period
side.
of like
How about on the marketing side? How early do you start preparing for the marketing aspect?
so we started doing paid marketing like Facebook ads
Mhm.
and Instagram and getting different content creators to make content. That was all about 3 months before we launched. We
Mhm.
started the organic marketing way before that, though.
Oh, okay.
Like I said,
Okay.
we were posting about it. We, had a dedicated Facebook group for the game. We
Oh,
were going
okay.
to, like I said, every convention we could get to. Starting with, um, let's say, we went to some local conventions, and then, starting in 2023, we were at Origins, we were at Gen Con, we were um, PAX Unplugged. We, hit all of those again last year as the game was kind of getting ready for Kickstarter, or as it was kind of like post Kickstarter to kind of get the
Mhm.
the post Kickstarter buzz for it. Because we were doing pre-orders and late pledges by then, so we were very present beforehand, and then kind of very aggressive on ads
Hmm.
leading up to the Kickstarter launch last
I
year.
see. And did you already finish fulfilling all the orders for the Kickstarter campaign already?
Yes, yep, yeah.
I see.
Kickstarters were fulfilled. We were in retail. We did pre-orders and direct sales, and are now virtually sold out of everything. Though we do have a new shipment of stuff coming in
Mhm,
probably next month or maybe
mhm.
September. It should be here.
I see.
And then we'll be doing another print run early next year. So
Oh,
we're
I see.
definitely keeping stock in stock as fast as we can.
I see, I see, I see. Well, that's a good problem to have.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I see. What would you say has been some of the biggest challenge to launch this publishing companies?
One of the biggest challenges, I think, it comes back to time and money because
Mhm,
everything takes time and everything costs money.
mhm,
And the less of one that you have, the more of the other you have to have. Um, so uh, keeping the game kind of fresh in people's minds means that we have to take it places. We have to make sure it's either with us at a convention or we're sending copies out to conventions we can't make it to. Um, you know, you have to pay graphic designers, you have to pay artists, you have to pay marketing people. You have to also like carve time out of your day to talk with those people about what it is that you want. So actually, a very small bit of it is actually game design, and a lot of
mhm.
it is the actual business of it of
Yeah.
um, you know having meetings and doing interviews and coordinating with content creators and um, so I would say like the most challenging thing is just budgeting your time and also budgeting your actual funds so that you can survive another month, another year. Because you hear in board gaming, profit margins are virtually non-existent. It's not necessarily true though. It's like they're we're doing this full time, but it's because we regularly look at how much money do we have coming in, how much money do we have coming out,
Mhm.
um, and you just have to budget those things. Um, I would say maybe kind of secondary to that, just a challenging thing is when your game kind of blows up like ours did. I think people have a tendency to stop thinking of you as like an indie designer or just like a regular person, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, these big companies." It's like, "We're not a big company." You know, I'm
Yeah.
working out of a corner of my house here. Um,
Yeah.
like we have very kind of normal lives, and these people are like, "Ah, these companies are out to get us." It's like, "No, we are not out to get you. We are."
Yeah, I think they just assume you are a big company because you raised 800,000 on the campaign, but they didn't realize it's really
Exactly,
just a
exactly.
small
Yeah,
group
we
of
are
people behind it.
we're just 3
Yeah.
normal guys who
Yeah.
live in our houses and, work out of them. So, um,
Mhm.
most people are wonderful though. You anytime I think you put something out onto the internet, there's a small contingent of people who are gonna show up and be nasty. Most people are wonderful though. Um, so that's been great though.
I see. Is there any other games that you're working in the pipeline as well?
Yes, yeah. So we've kind of fully announced next next like non-Galactic Cruise product, which is a game called Monoman, the food that grows on water.
Okay.
Uh, it's designed by a designer named Mystique LaPlante, who is a member of the Ojibwe Native American tribe. Um, he lives up in Minnesota, and
Mhm.
it's a game all about the kind of the harvesting and processing of monoman, which is the
Oh,
wild rice that grows up there.
okay.
Um, it's kind of it's a very thematic Euro style game that is um, one just really fun to play. Like when we played it, we were really blown away by how fun it was. but we were really blown away with how kind of culturally rich it is. Because this is a game that he designed not only to make a fun game, but also to kind of honor the culture that he's a part of. Um,
I see.
so we were really excited when we were able to sign that. Um, we also have two more games we've not really announced. But if you get our newsletter, you go on our website. We have one called Codename Haven and one
Mhm.
called Codename Excursions. We're
Okay,
not announcing the actual titles of those yet.
I see.
But those are both from very well-known designers in the board gaming space. So we're really excited to announce those as they get a little closer.
I see. I see. What are the launch date for the other, I guess, three additional products you just mentioned?
Yeah, so I'll back up a little bit and say that we are launching um, an expansion and reprint campaign for Galactic Cruise
Okay.
on September 9th of this year.
Okay.
Um, the campaign for Minoman will probably be around August or September of next year. That's very soft and is in no way like an official announcement.
Hmm.
Um, but we would love to launch it around then just because in real life, that's about when the Minoman harvesting actually happens um, like in North America when they actually harvest it. So I thought it would be
Oh,
cool
okay.
to launch a Kickstarter for this game at the same time the real thing is happening.
I see. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Um, and then
Yeah.
the other two projects are kind of slated for like 2027
Hmm.
launches. Um, Again, these are all kind of very soft, wishy-washy dates. Because again, much like Galactic Cruise, we're not going to launch anything until we feel like it is 100% ready to launch. Um,
Is all the games that you're working on leaning toward like medium or heavy strategy type of games?
yeah, so I'll say this is that um, definitely Minoman and then the Codename Excursions game are both going to be lighter, like kind of lighter and smallerish than Galactic Cruise. Kind of more approachable, more accessible. Uh, the Codename Haven game, it's a little bit to be determined. I think right
Okay.
now it is kind of less complex and maybe less daunting than Galactic Cruise.
Hmm.
But as development happens, these things can kind of be in flux.
I
I would
see.
say the Galactic Cruise is about the upper limit of complexity we would do. Um,
I see.
yeah, it's definitely not going to get bigger,
More
and
complicated.
it's not going to get more cumbersome.
I
If
see.
anything, this is kind of our upper limit, and then you know all of our games though will be what we're calling like main event
Mhm.
games. You know, I love like a small 20-minute card game, but we're probably not ever going to publish a 20-minute card game. It's for the most part going to be these kind of bigger, medium plus games that we put out.
Hmm. I see. I see. I see. What are some of the surprise lessons that you have learned along the way?
Let's see. Um, so before we kind of put Galactic Cruise out in the world, we had a lot of people read our rule book,
Okay.
and we had several people that we really respected, kind of the world of rule books, saying this is the best rule book I've ever read.
Hmm.
Um, it's I think a surprise lesson is no matter how good your rule book is, there will be someone online who either cannot find a rule or will totally misinterpret things, and you may be answering
Yeah.
the same question
Yeah.
over and over, and you just have to answer it each time like it is the first time you're hearing it,
Hmm.
um, and you just have to be grateful that people are playing your game at all and care enough to ask these rules questions, even if you're like, oh well, if you look on page 16, your exact question is answered. And the next question, you're like, if you look on page
I see.
16, your exact question is answered. So that's maybe a little bit of a surprise thing. It's just, you can really pride yourself on something working, working really well, or like, we've all played Galactic Cruise hundreds of times. At this point, I've probably played it 400 or 500 times myself.
Mhm.
But someone will play the game once or twice and be like, "Yeah, I think this thing is broken in the game," or I think this system is broken. This card is overpowered, and you just have to kind of, um, it's one of those things you just kind of have to roll with, and at some
Mm,
point, your community does that work for you. Um, people who I've never even met who are big fans of the game will come in and say, "Well, it's not broken because of this," or "Hey, if
mm,
you look on page 13 of the rule book, you'll see that you can't actually do the thing that you said that you can do."
mhm,
Um, so kind of the flip side of that is like I've learned that it's amazing how like total strangers will become huge champions of your game. Um,
mhm.
And I think there's still a little bit of, like, imposter syndrome for me, like, "Did we really design this thing? Like, is this a real thing?" Like, and it is
I
a real
see.
thing. It's now in the top 500 games on Board Game Geek, which is
Mhm,
just astounding to us, and, we've been really, really pleased with the response we've gotten, and it's been just, very kind of, deeply deeply moving to see, the response the game's gotten. Um, so yeah.
mhm. Yeah, for sure. Congratulations on all the success that you have
Yeah,
so
thank you.
far, and
Thanks so
I
much.
think there's a lot more, more exciting title to come as well. So, as well, wrapping up today's interview, if you have to share just one piece of advice with someone that's getting started within the toys or game industry, what would that be?
My biggest piece of advice is take your time. Um, when we first started designing Galactic Cruise in May of 2021,
Mhm,
we just fully thought that by the end of 2022, we would be launching on Kickstarter. Right? We don't,
mhm,
you know, we'll work on it for a few months and then we'll run some ads and we'll have this thing. We'll have this thing on Kickstarter in 6 months, 9 months.
mhm,
Instead, it took us almost 3 years. And I'm
mhm,
so glad that it did because if we had launched it on Kickstarter, um, our funding goal on Kickstarter when we launched it was $50,000.
mhm,
I think if we had worked on the game for a few months, kind of pooled our money together and ran a few ads, and launched it with a $50,000 funding goal, maybe it would have funded like at the
mhm,
very last minute.
mhm,
Um, but there's a much better chance it would have not funded at all, and we would have been out all of that time, out all of that money. Instead,
mhm,
we took our time. We just played the game to death. Tweaking little tiny rules. We showed it to everybody. Uh, we at least acknowledged everyone's advice and feedback. Even if
mhm,
we didn't necessarily take it, you can glean something from everything.
mhm,
Um, we brought on a third business partner who ended up being just a really pivotal part of the like development and co-design process.
mhm,
We took our time doing all these things, and when we launched the Kickstarter, we reached our funding goal in 4 minutes. And
mhm.
then, by the end of the first 24 hours, I think we were above $300,000 funded.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
so
Mhm,
it's one of those things where it's like at the time when we kept postponing this like potential launch date, like it hurt at the time to be like,
mhm,
oh, but well, if we don't launch it till then, it won't deliver till this point. Well, if we
mhm,
push it out further, it won't deliver. Absolutely worth it. Do
mhm,
not rush, especially your first project. Um,
mhm,
because because Galactic Cruise was so successful, we were all able to quit our day jobs, and now we do Kinson Key Games full time, which
Mhm.
means that we now we can fast track things. We can, um, we signed Minoman uh,
Mhm.
late last year,
Mhm.
and we'll probably put it. It'll probably be on Kickstarter mid to late next year. So
Mm.
it's a slightly smaller timeline because
Mhm.
um, one, there was at least an initial design there. We've done a lot of development work on it, but
Mhm.
also it's like we were able to devote more time to it. So if you
Mhm.
take your time earlier, you can almost make up that time later. Um, so that's my biggest piece of advice is like take your time and surround yourself with people who are better than you.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, I am like of the three of us, I am by far the worst at like graphic design. The other two guys are actually pretty good at graphic design,
Mhm.
but we don't do our own graphic design.
Yeah.
We hire graphic designers. We hire artists. We find out who are the best people in this little niche of the hobby, and we
Mhm.
see can we work with them.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Another piece of advice I would give people is like reach out to your heroes and your role models and other people who have done this.
Mhm.
Because I think early on, I was talking about people do this, and I was one of those people. I just assumed that these big smash hit games were designed by these like celebrities and put out by these like mega corporations. It's like no, your favorite publisher probably works out of a little corner of their home like I do.
Mhm.
Um, these rock star designers are probably leading like middle class lives somewhere, and they're all very deeply human people. Um, so if you have a favorite designer, a favorite publisher, a favorite kind of person you want to emulate,
Mhm.
just reach out to them. Most people are most people are on Facebook or Instagram or um, have an email associated with their website. I'm on Board Game Geek all the time, so
Mhm.
you know, people can shoot me some geek mail or find your favorite people on there and reach out to them
Mhm.
because that was such a difference maker for us is like talking to people who have ran successful Kickstarters and
Mhm.
put out you know successful games like how did they do it and there are no company secrets like we just all we share freely
Mhm.
and we found that most people do share freely. Um, so that's my biggest piece of advice to people who are just getting in is take your time and just surround yourself, immerse yourself in people
Mhm.
who have been there and done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I do
Yeah,
agree. Most people I met in the board game tabletop game industry, everyone's pretty open and very friendly to share their experiences and their knowledge that they have learned along the way. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
so for those listener and our audience that would like to learn more about your businesses and the product that you have, where is the best place for people to find you online?
Yeah, so for Galactic Cruise specifically, we have a Facebook group where we like that's dedicated to the game. It's just called Galactic Cruise board game. It's searchable on Facebook. Um, then Kinson Key Games itself, we have a Facebook page, we have Instagram. Um, we have a pretty thriving Discord community. And joining us on Discord is the best way to see what we're working on that we're not fully announcing yet, right? Because that's where we do all of our playtesting, all of our playtest results. That's where we have discussions about things that are going on. Um, you can also find us online at kinsonkeygames.com. It's just KINSONKEYGAMES
Okay.
.com. Um, So you can find us there. We're kind of all over the place. We have a TikTok account that we don't always use, but we're on TikTok.
I see. Okay.
We are, and then I personally am on Board Game Geek all the time. So if you're a person out there who has played Galactic Cruise and you have a question
Yeah.
and you post it on Board Game Geek, there's a good chance that I will be on there within a few minutes to answer
I
it.
see. Are you just checking the forum on Board Game Geek?
Yes, I'm subscribed to I think every forum that pops up on
Uh-huh.
Galactic Cruise. So
I see. I see. Got it. Thank you so much.
yeah,
for
so
sharing
we're kind of all over the place. So whatever social media is your favorite, we're probably there and and posting. So we are easy to find.
I see. Thank you so much. We'll make sure we put that in the show note. And thank you so much for your time today, sharing your story and your journey so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you as well. And thank you for our audience for tuning in to this episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support and would love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resource, tips, and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag ToyBusinessUnboxed. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestion for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on the Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay.